el exec, el Belé, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, Velez. Welcome to episode 141. How we doing? Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm currently working on moving to a new apartment, so that's why the schedule is kind of wonky. I arrive late some days to the house, then I have church, and I have a haircut, so that's why like the schedule is kind of wonky. But I'm trying my best to give you guys, your weekly dose. So on the docket, we have Shohei Ohtani's 50-50. We're going to talk about the significance of what it is that we're watching with him, and the fact that baseball is the sport that gets the least amount of national media coverage over the last, I would say, 10 years. Could stretch it out to 15, because when I watched baseball back in the day, I'm 28, so back in like 04, 05, 06, 07, like baseball was big. You saw baseball on Sports Center. You saw every game recap. You saw MLB Tonight. Like, baseball was big. But as the NFL and the NBA grew, and the excitement and the way marketing worked, and how long baseball got, baseball went through the dead period, which is like, where games were like 3.5 hours long on average, and nobody wanted to watch it. Too many like delay tactics by pitchers and hitters, and there was no rules to like limit how many times you could take a break, how many times you could call time, mound visits. So as all that started to clean up, hopefully, baseball would get back on the radar. But I think the guy that will get it back on the radar and has gotten it back on the radar a little bit is Shohei Ohtani. Arguably the greatest baseball player of all time. People say Babe Ruth, but now they're opening up to the fact that like Babe Ruth didn't pitch for as long as Ohtani has. And then what Ohtani's doing in a rehab year, what he has done in a rehab year, the way he did it, we're going to talk about it, the way he did it, because he did it here in Miami. I could have gone to the game, but I was just getting the apartment, so I didn't have like a way to go. But I could have gone to the game. But that's like the first story that we're talking about. Then we're talking about Formula One. Then we're talking about NASCAR. Formula One went the way that we thought it kind of would. NASCAR wasn't surprising at all, because the person who won was under the most pressure to win. And then we're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about the NCAA, week that happened. Archie Manning looks great. Cam Ward still looks great. And Colorado somehow, some way pulls it out against Baylor in an absolute stunner of the likes that only college football can provide. And then we're going to get to the NFL. And we got some roasting to do. We got to humble ourselves a little bit. And we got to accept that the NFL as we know it has changed. The scheme that we thought we knew coming into this season has completely turned the tables. And the reason why is somehow very telling, and somehow at the same time something we should have expected. Based on how the game has evolved over the past, I would say 20, 25, 30 years. But back to Shohei. Then we're going to talk a little baseball at the end. I don't want to make it too long. I am recording this like at 9 o'clock at night. But I want to get you guys like caught up as much as possible, as I know like you have this episode and then you got the Thursday episode. So Shohei last week on Thursday, when I was when I was recording, Wednesday or Thursday when I was recording, he started off the game with 49 stolen bases, 48 home runs. This man ended the game with 51 stolen bases and 51 home runs. The way he did it was incredible. He went 6 for 6, 10 RBI, 2 stolen bases, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and almost a cycle, but he got thrown out at third. Since 1920, no player has, since the RBI stat was created, no player had that type of performance with 2 stolen bases. There has been better games. I would say one, Sean Green, the 12 RBI game with the 4 home runs. You could say that there was a better game individually, but for how the stakes were, what was on the line, and not only what was on the line, but how he has done it his whole career. The big moments in the pressure-packed situations. He went 40-40. He joined the 40. My phone fell. He went 40-40 as a grand slam in the 9th inning at home to win. That's how he went 40-40. He joined the 40-40 club about a month ago, or I want to say about 2 weeks ago, because he's gone on a rapid pace. We're going to talk about how he's almost caught Judge and everything, how Judge is kind of heating up. But Ohtani, in about 2 weeks, went from the 40-40 club, grand slam, 9th inning, to walk it off. I mean, there's no more better feeling than to win a game like that and to get into that type of club. He was only the 7th player ever to do it. And then come back for 50-50. Steal your 50th base in the first inning. Steal your 51st base in the 3rd inning. And then go 3 straight at-bats off a Cabrera, a reliever, and a position player, but the position player doesn't matter, and go back to back to back home runs. 49, an absolute thundershot into the upper deck of right field. 50, an oppo shot that when you see him hit it, it was like, you see him hit it, you're like, is that going out? But like the way the call was happening, like the way the commentators like made it seem like it was far. Man, this dude cleared the Clevelander wall, hits the scoreboard of the Clevelander, the ball bounces. The guy gets it. They offer everything for it. He still has it to this day. Now, that 50-50 ball, he shouldn't sell it for, I would say, 10, 15 years at least, just to gain value. Let Ohtani win a Cy Young. Let him win this MVP. Let him win a World Series. You know, maybe all happens this year except the Cy Young. He can't pitch this year. But for him to, let's put it in perspective. There has never been a player in the history of baseball, we're talking about over 100 and almost 50 years of baseball, to do what Ohtani did in one game. 6 for 6, 10 RBI, 2 stolen bases, 3 home runs, 2 doubles. Nobody in the history of Major League Baseball has done that in a career. Shohei did it in a game. And to top it all off, after 7 long years of not reaching the playoffs, he does this on the same day that the Dodgers with that win, and it was 20-4. I mean, it was an annihilation of the Marlins, and just basically like, for him to get a curtain call at the Marlins Stadium, and when you see him hit the home runs, the Marlins Stadium is like half empty, I think is a travesty. because I wanted to be at that game. I couldn't be, but I wanted to because I wanted to see him play. You don't get the chance to see a once-in-a-lifetime, not just player, human. A person that was chosen by God to be that special. And the fact that he is a gentleman, married, loves his family, basically addicted to his job, the way that legends talk about him, guys that played with him, guys that are playing with him now, Mookie Betts, first ballot Hall of Famer, MVP, World Series champion, asked about the game after the game. He said, "Guys, I'm just like you guys. I'm a fan. I can't believe anything that this guy, like, when he does it, it's kind of like I'm surprised, and I live it with you guys, but also have the best seat in the house. But the way that he works, it's not surprising. He has a relentless schedule, addicted to the routine. Same routine he's always had. And the crazy thing is, you hear these stories, is like, yeah, you know, Shohei throws a 60-pitch bullpen, full speed, and then out of nowhere, gets into the cages, and off the tee hits a ball 108 off the tee. This guy's different. They call him the unicorn for a reason. I think we should appreciate it more. Now I believe he's at 53. He's trying to get 1-1 he's chasing 55, which is absolutely insane. I think there's like 6 games left. 55 would be crazy, but he already got the 50-50. And then you realize what he did this offseason. He made it a goal to add as much value to his team as he could, even though he couldn't pitch. That's what he did. He went into the film room. He went into the technique of how to steal a base, studying pitchers' tendencies of every rotation, every pitcher, every pitch, knowing if they have tells, if they're slow to the plate. He's gotten caught. He has 54 or 55 stolen bases. He's gotten caught 4 times. This guy's 6'4", 230. This guy's not like Bobby Witt, who's like small, compact, fast. Corbin Carroll, Jose Altuve, Ellie, even though Ellie's like 6'4". No, this guy's a legit 6'4", 220, 230. Runs like a gazelle and slides better than anybody you've ever seen. I mean, it's a textbook slide. You want to teach somebody how to slide? Watch Shohei Ohtani. Feet first, corner of the bag, make it hard for the tag. But it's not only that. It's not only that he focused on stealing bases to add value to the team because he could not pitch. This man, somehow, some way, leads the league in average distance per home run, has the most over 420, 450 foot home runs in this year, highest exit velocity along with Giancarlo and people like Judge and Gunnar, Ellie, O'Neal Cruz, the big boys. And he does it from the leadoff spot. That means this guy has amassed over 120 RBI, and he's the first guy to the plate with nobody on. Every game. He's the first guy a pitcher has to face. Before you get to Mookie, before you get to Freeman, before you get to Lux, before you get to Muncy, before you get to Smith, Teoscar, you got to face Shohei Ohtani. And yeah, he might give you a couple. Maybe he chases, because he's looking for a hit. He's an aggressive swinger because he trusts in his swing. And why wouldn't you? But if you make a mistake, he's on the Barry Bonds level. Him, Judge, and Barry Bonds, if you make a mistake, you will pay. And I'm not talking about a pay for a single. You're paying with a run. You're paying with embarrassment. You're paying with your crowd going of the sound that comes off his bat. Because one thing is to be a guy that hits 450-foot home runs. Another guy is that when the ball hits your bat, it doesn't sound like anything else in the sport. It is a cannon shot. And every time I'm watching him, like the highlights, and I know that a home run's coming because like I saw it on Twitter or something. So I know when these at-bats is a home run, I'm waiting for that sound. And he had a home run this year in Minute Maid against the Astros where the commentators didn't even see the ball. You know what the commentator said? I didn't see it, but I heard it. Yeah, the crack of the bat. He didn't see the ball. Ball went like 450. Upper deck, lost. Didn't even see where it landed. Heard the sound of the bat. That's crazy. And the craziest thing on top of all of that with the 50-50 and everything, this guy is a legit top 10 pitcher in the game. Throws 99 to 100 fastball. One of the nastiest splitters in baseball history. One of the nastiest sweepers. Nasty curveball. Nasty changeup. Dirty sliders. And he can go out there and strike out 13 people. On a whim. Give you 7 innings. And then go right back to the plate next inning. And hit a 480-foot bomb. That's what we're watching. So I want you guys to understand the type of greatness that we're watching and the privilege that we have. Just like I tell you guys about watching LeBron, watching Curry, watching Patrick Mahomes, being able to watch Brady, being able to watch Aaron, being able to watch Peyton. I cherish, as a sports fan, being able to watch Lewis Hamilton race. Jimmy Johnson, the legends of the sport, the ones that even after they retire, they're revered, respected to the most high. You gotta be grateful that, not only you're able to see it and live it, but that God has allowed you to be in this time to see it. Because think about back in the 1930s, they were watching Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. And they're like, oh my God, they're so good. But even back then, they didn't think that they were the best of all time. We're in 2024. And when you look at some of the greatest streaks of some of the greatest numbers in the history of baseball, you got to go back to the 1920s, 1910s, 1930s. For Ty Cobb, for Ted Williams, for Lou Gehrig, for Babe Ruth. Because those numbers still stand till today. So Ohtani doing what he's doing, respect it, admire it, use it as motivation. Because he is the epitome of what happens when talent is met by the exact type of hard work and dedication to your craft. Okay? Him, Curry, Mahomes, the way Brady was. It's a special type of people. Some people call it maniacal. Some people call it borderline psychopathic. Maybe addicted. But sports doesn't hurt nobody. And the most successful sports people, yeah, there's a few that have fallen through the cracks that were just pure talent. pure talent. But very few of those reach the mountaintop of the ones that worked hard. You know, people that did it with just talent. Lawrence Taylor, greatest defensive lineman of all time, would go to parties and everything, show up on Sunday and get 3 sacks. Dennis Rodman would go to Vegas, party his ass off, come to the finals, get 15 rebounds. But I think Lawrence Taylor's probably the best example, because even Dennis Rodman, when they interview him, he said, I counted the revolutions on the basketball to see where it bounced on the rim and where I could go get it based on the spin and the bounce. You want to be great at something? Break it down to every single detail. You know what it is to look at a basketball shot and count the revolutions in real time and then use that and use your muscle memory from how many shots you've seen bounce off the rim to predict where it was falling? That's what sports are about. That's why I love them. One of the reasons, besides the competition, the excitement that it causes, and also it brings everybody together. Everyone. In a locker room, everybody from all walks of life, they all get along and strive towards a common goal. That's why when everybody retires from whatever sport they play, the first thing they say, man, I miss it, not the game. I miss the locker room, the bond. Because the closest thing you get to it is the military. It's that type of bond. It's like, I'm going to die for my brother right here. I'm fighting with him. We're going to war. So, appreciate Shohei. Appreciate that he's going to the postseason. If he wins this World Series and he goes nuts, appreciate it. I want a jersey. All white, Dodger, Ohtani jersey. You know, there's certain players that I hold in high regard in every sport that one day I will have their jerseys. Whether it's football, whether it's Formula One, on all the spectrum of sports greatness that I've watched, there's certain things and certain jerseys that, you know, mean something to me beyond the sport. Curry, Pat Mahomes, Tyreek. These are special individuals. And when they're gone is when you start seeing what they did. And then you're like, oh, yeah, we might not see one of those again. That's what we have in multiple sports right now, guys. Shohei, Curry. You know, you even look at Connor McDavid in hockey, even though, you know, you saw Gretzky, of course. Braun. Mahomes. Even a guy like Kelsey. Aaron Donald just retired. Aaron Rodgers. Like, there's certain people, Lewis Hamilton, there's certain people that you should be grateful that you're seeing. I know I went on a rant there. I just wanted to give Shohei all the love in the world. I love watching this guy play. He's only 29. I hope he plays for his whole contract and gets all the $700 million. But in a year that he had his best friend steal $14 million from him from gambling, to a new team, a new city, all the expectations in the world, and he couldn't pitch. And he goes 50-50. First player ever. And then for his 52nd, this man ties the game and Mookie walks it off after him. I mean, it's just fairy tale stuff with him. And it's been like that forever. So he will get his third MVP this year. He's already a cemented first ballot Hall of Famer for me. Yes, he has to make it to 10 years. I have no doubt that he'll make it to 10 years. But he has already 3 MVPs. In my opinion, all he needs is a Cy Young to complete the trophy case. Yes, you won a World Series, of course. But you want to have at least 1 year that you can say you were the best pitcher in the world, in your league. And I think he can get that next year, maybe the year after. I think he's only going to get smarter on the mound. The speed is still going to be there. I mean, the type of rehab that he does to recover and stuff like that. Like, the guy's a machine, and we better appreciate it while he's here, because people have tried to do what he's doing, just like Travis Hunter. It don't happen. Not like this. Not Hall of Fame pitcher. Hall of Fame hitter. Don't happen like that. When he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, this motherfucker's going to get inducted as a pitcher and as a DH. Are you kidding me? It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's get to Formula One. Formula One. All right. Landó wins. We knew, I told you guys last week, hey, Singapore is the type of track for the big boys to reassert dominance. Exactly what happened. Landó, Verstappen, even Lewis a little bit. But the thing is, and what we're learning really quick is, McLaren is the team to beat. McLaren has the most balanced car, has the fastest car, best tire deg. And now the question is, can McLaren get enough breaks in the last 7 races of the season? We're going to COTA next here in the United States, in Texas. Lewis loves that track. I expect him to do well. Is it possible for Max to slip up 1 or 2 races? Because Max has a 59-point lead right now. That's approximately 3 races. 2.5, almost 3 races. And for Landó to be able to win the championship this year, he needs Verstappen to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th and not 2nd. If Verstappen keeps finishing 2nd for the rest of the year, he'll win the title. Because the difference in points totals, it's not enough to bridge the gap. And that's what happens when Red Bull builds a lead at the beginning of the season. You're chasing them. But you're not only chasing them, you're hoping not only that they don't win, but they're not even a factor on the podium. And I think that's a little bit too tough this year. As much as I don't want Max Verstappen to get his 4th championship, especially in a row. And it's not because I hate Max. I love Max as a driver. But I've said this before. When you win so much that you kind of take it for granted. And what I mean by that is, like, look at Lewis Hamilton when he won the British Grand Prix this year. The elation, the emotion, the joy, that's from a 7-time world champion and the guy that's considered the GOAT of the sport. Crying in the car, saying thank you to his teammates, thank you to his team. Winning his like 105th Grand Prix. Over 200 podiums. The GOAT of the sport. And for him to show that type of elation and emotion for 1 win. Because he thought he'll never win again. And then for Max to win and be like, yeah, good job, guys. Good job, guys. Car was on rails today. Good job, Max. Good job. Good job. Very good. you were blazing today. You were cracking. That's it. This is Formula One. This is the hardest racing in the world. This is the pinnacle of motorsport. Just because you've won 3 championships in a row, especially in dominating fashion, where it became kind of routine to win, doesn't give you the right to not show emotion towards people, like towards an accomplishment that everybody on the grid and everybody who has raced in Formula One since 1950 has wanted and cherished for. A Grand Prix win. Some people only have one. Some people don't even have one. Some people just have podiums. Some people retired only getting 1 point as a driver. Getting a point is big, let alone a win. So the type of culture that Red Bull has of kind of nonchalant when they win, I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is because when you look at sports, when you look at people winning championships, going through the journey, the sacrifice of winning a championship, go watch Mahomes win his 3rd championship and see his reaction. Go watch Brady win his 7th championship and see his reaction. Watch Curry win his 4th and see his reaction. Watch Kobe win his 5th and see his reaction. Watch Albert Pujols win his 2nd World Series. Altuve. There's elation. Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter how many times you win, it's still freaking hard. This is professional sports. And Landó is showing that elation. Landó, every time he wins, is, oh my God, guys, thank you so much for this car. And there's joy. Anybody else wins, there is genuine joy. It's not feeling content. It is joy because of how hard it is. Don't get used to winning, because once you stop winning, you're going to realize you should have cherished it more and should have celebrated more. Not that you should over-celebrate, but you should definitely, I believe it's showing respect to the sport of how hard it is. There's only 20 drivers in the world, 20 people who get in an F1 race car in any given season. And there's been decades of just straight dominance by a certain team. The 80s, you had your McLaren. You had your Williams. 90s, a little bit of Benetton. Early, you had McLaren. Then you had the Ferrari machine. You had your 2010s with Vettel. And then, you had your 2015 on. I mean, your 2010s with Vettel and Red Bull when it first started. And then till 2022, you had the silver arrows of the Mercedes. And now you got, going to be, hopefully not, but looks like it, 4 years of Red Bull once again. I say that to say this. I love Formula One. But I really, really enjoy when a driver shows joy for winning. Because, man, is it hard. It's hard to get there. And then to win. So many factors are out of your control. You could be the best driver in the world, but if you don't have the car, if you don't have the team, if you don't have the strategy, if not, everything in the race goes perfectly for you. You might never win. So, that's why I like that Landó one. It was a good race. Landó absolutely dominated. He won by like 22 seconds. Just kept pulling away. Just showed that the car was faster. That the tire degradation was not as much. Mercedes made a mistake. And me and my dad knew it from the beginning. If you're third on the grid, you qualified third. Pretty good starting position. And everybody around you starts on a certain compound of tire. Why would you zag? If everybody's zigging, why are you zagging? And I know that this could be also a teaching moment. It's like, oh, you're not supposed to do what everybody does. Yeah, but if you have evidence that what everybody's doing is the right thing, why would you jeopardize your position if all you had to do was put on the same set of tires? I strongly believe if Lewis starts on mediums, I think he passes Verstappen and possibly goes after Landó. But they put him on softs and it didn't work. And boy, did it get tough. Because by lap 4, he was already complaining. Oh, the tires, man, they're slipping. I don't have grip. And he nursed them. And he took his L. The team took his L. It wasn't his choice. The team took an L. And they knew it at the beginning of the race. As soon as he couldn't catch up to Verstappen for second, they were like, oh, shit. We made a mistake here, so now we got to survive. They didn't survive. They finished like 6th. Once Mercedes finishes 5th, 6th, even 4th, that's not a Mercedes type of weekend. Especially when Lewis is not on the podium. That's how they see it. They base their success on wins. That's their type of success. And when you win, when you win 6 championships in a row, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. NASCAR. Kyle Larson, in my opinion, is one of the best drivers in the world. Top 3. If you were to ask me a top 3 drivers right now in the world, 4 names come to mind. 1 name stands above all else. And the other name is there just because of the success that he's had already and the way he drives. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Alex Palou, and Kyle Larson. Those to me are the 4 best drivers in the world right now. Alex Palou for Indy just won his 3rd championship in a row. We all know Max. We know Lewis. And then Kyle Larson only has 1 championship. But the way Kyle Larson drives reminds you of a legend, of a superstar. Because he gets into anything and puts it in the front and makes it win. This man arrived at Bristol knowing that the only way he had a chance at winning a championship, because of the 2 shortcomings that he had in the last 2 playoff races, was to win. And what does he do? He doesn't only win. He dominates, winning stage 1, stage 2, and the race. That's what true legends do. When you feel like their backs is against the wall, they know what they need to do and they go out and execute. Okay? Mahomes in a 2-minute drive at the end of the Super Bowl in the 4th quarter. Execute. Brady. Execute. Curry in the finals. Execute. Kobe in the finals. Mike. Mariano Rivera coming in the bottom of the 9th in World Series. Success comes down to execution. You can practice all you want. You can hype yourself all you want. You can have all the medical breakthroughs, all you want, all the best recovery and everything. When it comes to professional sports, whether it's motorsport or actual sport on a field, what determines wins and losses usually? At the biggest stages, execution. Oh, well, Velez, execution of what? What are we playing? Playing basketball? Okay. You got to execute on offense. You got to execute on defense. Details. Football is all about execution. If you don't execute in football, you ain't winning. You have 11 people on the field. The offense has one play. All 11 people have to know the play, understand the play, and execute the play. That's one play. One play. Takes 11 minds to be in sync. Now imagine that. One play. But you're not only depending on your team out there. The guy that's calling the play, your coach, your offensive coordinator, he has to be in the right frame of mind and locked in to call the right play. Let's go on the defensive side. You guys might say, oh, all there is cover 2 and cover 1 robber and cover 0 and cover 6 and cover... Yes. But in the fever pitch moments of a defensive possession, a defensive drive, a defensive stand, and we're going to talk about it with the Chiefs, execution. You might have instincts, but do you act on those instincts? Do you trust what you see? See, the thing is, you can study a playbook, but a playbook ain't on grass. A playbook ain't trying to hold you and hit you and everything like that. A playbook is a skeleton of what you roughly are going to do out there on the field. What you hope to accomplish is on the playbook. This is your first option. Ideally, we want to hit him. This is your second option. If you go through your progression, this is your third option. This is your dump off if nothing's open. That's how it should go. But on paper, it doesn't tell you that your offensive line's a piece of shit. It doesn't tell you that you're facing Aaron Donald, that you're facing Chris Jones. So when you get out on the grass, that's where you find who are the Jimmies and the Joes. And that's why when people get drafted, it's interesting. Because it is a crapshoot, right? But what are you really looking for? You're not looking just for a mind, especially in a quarterback. You're not looking just for a mind. You're not looking for a certain type of personality. You're also looking for somebody that under the pressure of the world, while millions are watching, their heartbeat stays at 60 BPM. And Velez, why so specific, 60 BPM? Because that is the calmest a human can possibly be. 60 BPM. Stephen Curry, in a 30-second timeout, trained himself to go from 150 beats per minute to 79 in 30 seconds. And people say, oh, but he's the most conditioned athlete in the NBA. Yeah. Yeah, he is. That's why. Because for you to be in a pressure-packed situation in the finals, and you're the one creating everything. You're the one that's running, you're the one everything. You call timeout. Under all that stress, you can bottle that up and still get back to even keel. So you can think right. You can execute. Kyle Larson executed the plan. Now, it could have been just fine just leading one lap, the last one, because that's the goal. But no. This man took it upon himself to be like, I'm going to show that I am the best driver possibly in the world. And I'm going to dominate this race and show everybody that I am still a legit, if not the favorite to win this championship. When a driver can do that in NASCAR, where one wrong move could just send you into the wall and end your day, something powerful about that. Intimidating even. And I wonder how his competitors are feeling, knowing that this man just got the biggest confidence boost ever after 2 bad weeks. It's going to be interesting going down the stretch. Very interesting. All right, let's get to college football. I want to talk about Colorado first. Listen, I love Prime. But I love Prime, Colorado, Shadour, Travis Hunter, the whole team. And I want them to do great. But there's one thing about building a college football team, especially in middle America, because they're in Colorado, so it's middle America. The hardest thing to build a program, the hardest position group to build a program, to get good at recruiting and have a nice recruiting base for yourself that you can pick from, and you're gonna always pick value and good players, is the offensive line. It would be a good idea to ask somebody like Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, how long it took them, or even Dabo Swinney, it took them to build an offensive line recruiting pipeline. And if I'm Dion, I use my platform. First ballot Hall of Famer, greatest corner of all time, good coach, leader of men, Christ follower. And I would go to the hotbeds of offensive line recruiting. Your Nebraskas, your Iowas, your Dakotas, your Tennessees, your Kansas, your Bamas, Arkansas, Mississippi. And I would go down there and try to recruit the best offensive linemen in the country. Now, the thing is, even if you're Prime, what are you going to say to a kid that tells you, yeah, I mean, I would, but I just got an offer from Bama. I just got an offer from Georgia. And what does that represent to them? To them, basically guaranteed success. Why? Look at Georgia. Look at Bama. Look at Ohio State. Look at Michigan. when they were winning. UF when they were winning. Texas, especially now. Oklahoma. What do they have in common? They all have won in the last 15 years. Won. Been dominant. Had dominant teams. What that builds is cachet. Saban left Alabama. They still had a top 5 recruiting class. Oh, I wonder why. The reason why is their facilities are better than anybody's. Their NIL deals are better than anybody. And their coaching is proven to be better than everybody else. What is that based on? What's the measure? How many people have you sent to the NFL? Let's go back to the schools I just mentioned. Georgia, Bama, Texas, Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio State. Yeah, there's a lot of first-round picks from those schools. But where do the first-round picks out of the O-line come from? Yeah, you might have ones from Alabama, some from Georgia, maybe one or two Oklahoma. Where do offensive line come from? Boston College, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Penn State. You get me? So if I'm prime for this upcoming year, because you can't do it now, I go to the hotbeds of recruiting, offensive linemen, and I go up there with my pitch. Now, he's going to have to find another quarterback, and I'm sure he will. He's not going to find another Travis Hunter. That's for sure. And they're both going in the first round. They might be 1-2 in the draft this upcoming year, him and Shadour. But to the game. Baylor kind of stymies Colorado for the first half. They're not creating a lot, but they're scoring here and there and really like blowing up that offensive line for Colorado, not allowing them to run. And then we get into the fourth. And then Shadour decides to take matters into his own hands. He throws a touchdown to get within 7. Okay? And then Baylor gets stopped. And Shadour Sanders throws a Hail Mary at 000 on a play where I was thinking in my head, damn, that'd be crazy if they pull this off. But it'd be very Shadour-like in Colorado. And what happens? Takes the snap. Travis Hunter's on his right side, so they put him on the right by himself, kind of like on an island, but not really. They knew he was going to get most of the attention. So then you put Jimmy Horn, LeJontay Wester on the other side. And they run 4 verticals. So by Travis taking the attention, he knew he had a one-on-one. Now, this play did not go according to plan. And even Shadour said after the game that it was kind of, I put it in God's hands. This man rolls out to his left because he gets pressured, running full speed, stops, sets, and launches the ball 45 yards into a window like this. Because when LeJontay caught it, it was this far from the ground. Ties the game. They go into overtime. And then if one's going to show up, the other one's going to show up. If Shadour's going to show up, you know Travis is going to show up. So they score. Colorado does. They accept the ball. They score. And then Baylor gets close, right? I believe it was 3rd and goal. And Baylor from like the 3-yard line. I believe he throwed it to his tight end. Tight end turned around. If it was this, it was too much. From the goal line. And what happens next? Travis Hunter. To me, the Heisman Trophy favorite right now, and to the sports book as well, leaps into the air, puts his helmet and his shoulder pad directly on the ball, while the guy's trying to reach out and to score, knocks the ball out, fumbles before the goal line, and then rolls out of the end zone. Game over. Stormed the field. Even when they were still reviewing, the field got stormed and everything. That type of win, although exciting, and that's how all Colorado games have been, yes, that builds toughness and culture and stuff like that. But at the same time, you can't keep giving yourself heart attacks like that, man. That's not healthy. And it all comes down to the fact that they can't rush the passer and they can't run the ball. That's why Shadour has to throw it 45 times a game. Thank God for Travis Hunter. Another 7 catches, $130, plus the game-winning play on defense. The guy's insane. Now, can he play in the NFL like that? I don't know. I think the playbooks are too big. I think the attention, the detail per position is too much. But if anybody can do it, people said Shohei couldn't play 2 ways. He's done it. So if anybody can do it, I think he can. Because he's under the mentorship of the only guy who has done it, in Dion. All right, next. Tennessee. What a game. First SEC matchup for Oklahoma. And Tennessee and Ncaa that's such a tough name to say. That was bad. Milava. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. Nico's a legit quarterback. Nico is a legit dude that Tennessee can be proud of, and possibly once they reach the playoffs, which they will make, and have a chance to win the SEC championship, although Georgia and Texas right now, pretty big boys right now, especially Texas. But have a chance to enter as an at-large pick or as an actual conference champion. I think this team is pretty good. I see him play, and even in the Josh Heupel offense, there's more continuity than I've seen before. Even when Hendon Hooker was there, they can run the ball. They're physical, and they forced Oklahoma to change quarterbacks. They went from Jackson Arnold. Man, his name escapes me right now. The kid that went in for him. But even Kirk Herbstreit, the guy that was calling the game, said they found their quarterback. Number 9 has the confidence. He ran in, couple plays, was convicted in his decisions. That's sometimes all you gotta show. Conviction in your decisions. Do you trust what you see? Do you think that what you've learned in practice can you apply in the game with certainty and conviction? That's half of the game. That's half of the game, especially at the quarterback position. What you practice is what you're going to be in the game. If you practice hard, like Tom Brady said, whatever we do in practice is going to be a reflection of what we do in the game. Plain and simple. And that's in any sport. Practice makes perfect. That phrase was not created just for shits and giggles. That phrase was created because there's some legit evidence behind it. That's why the 10,000 hour mastery, schedule, or I guess like timeline exists. If you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll truly master it. It's a lot of hours. But also, if it's your passion, that's what you've dedicated your life to, not really. And you could divide it by 24 to see how many days it is, but I digress. Other than that, Bama still looks good. Texas is the number 1 team in the nation. And we could go through the scores. But Texas right now, and Archie played another great game. Archie played another terrific game. Ohio State still looks like Ohio State. Clemson beats the shit out of NC State 59-35. Iowa State beats Arkansas State. Penn State beats Kent State. Michigan beats USC. I saw this game. Michigan has a little bit of their swagger back. Now, I don't know if with Orgy, once they face a Texas, once they face a Georgia, on Ohio State, I don't know if it's all going to be sunshine and gravy. But for now, to be able to beat a good USC team in the big house, and it was a great game, but Michigan pulled it out. LSU beats UCLA. Notre Dame beats Miami of Ohio. Louisville beats Georgia Tech. Utah beats Oklahoma State. Missouri beats Vanderbilt. Miami beats South Florida, ass-kicking 50-15. Tennessee beats Oklahoma 25-15. Texas A&M beats Bowling Green. Ole Miss beats Georgia Southern. Texas beats UL Monroe 51-3. And BYU beats Kansas State, which was a surprise. A lot of bets were lost there, 38-9 against the number 13 team in the nation. And then Illinois beat Nebraska on 31-24. So Raiola gets his first loss. Still got a lot of ball to go. Lot of it. Now if we go to the NFL, guys. Let's start by understanding that the NFL is not going to stay the same. The NFL is known to be cyclical. There's cycles, trends that repeat themselves throughout the years. And as offenses and defenses adjust, those cycles kind of dominate an era. For example, 80s and 90s, pound the rock. Pound that rock. Pound it. Defense and pounding the rock. You get to 2000s, 2010s, pass the shit out of the ball. Even in 2020s, pass the shit out of the ball. Play action, shotgun, bootleg, everything you do, pass the ball. Now, in 2024, we're seeing another shift back to the running game. And the teams that can run are the teams that are being successful. Now, there was more surprises this week, of course. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, what we thought we knew this year, the NFL shows us once again that we don't know shit. We thought the Bengals were going to be good. We thought the Commanders were going to suck. We thought the Giants were going to suck. We thought the Carolina Panthers were going to suck. We thought the Saints were going to suck. After J.J. McCarthy got hurt, we thought the Vikings were going to somewhat suck. We put all our eggs in the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Eagles, Packers, 49ers, and some of you Cowboys. And through 3 weeks, what I've noticed is that, boy, these defenses have gotten better. And not better in the sense of like, oh, they got better. No. Defensive coordinators and GMs, or head coaches and GMs, have made a concerted effort. A overall effort organizationally to stop the tight end. And to do that, you need a special type of player. And about 10 years ago, Nick Saban started what's called now the star position. Now, the star position is kind of like a movable chess piece. Ncaa played it at Alabama, Ronaldo McClain, a lot of guys played it at Bama because Nick Saban created it. Tyrann Mathieu, Jalen Ramsey. That's the position we're talking about. Kyle Hamilton. And it's a position where you feel comfortable as a coach putting your star on defense on the other team's tight end. Because tight ends have gotten so freaky over the last 10 years. Yeah, we had Shannon Sharp. We had Tony Gonzalez. We had Antonio Gates. We had, I'm blanking his name right now. George Kittle, Kelsey. Of course, now we have Laporta. We have Mark Andrews. Trey McBride. I forgot. His last name is Smith. I know you guys know. You're going to clown me. It's fine. Okay? It's fine. His last name is Smith. And I believe his name starts with an A. No, Vernon Davis. Ha, got it. Guys like Vernon Davis. Freaks. Kyle Pitts. Freaks. So how do you combat a freak? You get a freak of your own. You get a 6'3", 6'4" Kyle Hamilton. You get a 4'3" Tyrann Mathieu. You get a 40-inch vert Jalen Ramsey. 2 of them play corner. The other one plays safety. But they're all the star. And that position is what has really taken away the tight end. Kelsey, Laporta, Kittle, Mark Andrews. How in the world, over 3 weeks already, those 3 guys are maligned, to say the least, especially Kelsey and Laporta. Even Dalton Kincaid scored yesterday, but so I think what's happening is now offensive coordinators like Andy Reid and offensive geniuses are basically saying, okay, if that's how you want to play it and you want to stop our quote-unquote best weapon in our tight end, then I'm going to make you forget. That I have a number 1 receiver. But they can't forget the number 1 receiver. I'm not talking about forgetting him. I'm talking about that when you have a nuclear weapon like a Travis Kelce, like a Mark Andrews, George Kittle, a Sam Laporta, even a Trey McBride, when TJ Hawkinson comes back with Goddard, you put defensive coordinators in a bind of, okay, do I stop the 10-yard button hook by the tight end? Or do I try to stop the 40-yard, 20-yard in cut by the number one receiver? And when you put defensive coordinators in that bind, defensive coordinators will look to soften the bind. And that's where the star position comes in. It allows the defensive coordinator to hone in with one player, a weakness that if he doesn't have that player will be very evident on his defense. Now, that doesn't mean that I think tight ends are done for this year, but I do think that when it comes to these gaudy numbers we've seen from tight ends lately, and the 1,000-yard seasons and the 10-plus touchdowns, I don't think we're getting that this year. I just have a hunch. I don't think we're going to see that many tight ends really explode. Now, one did explode this weekend, Dallas Goedert. We'll get to that. But overall, over 3 weeks, it hasn't happened. So, let's move to the Thursday night game. Jets win. Okay. The Jets win 24-3. Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. And what I mean by that is basically he looked like MVP Aaron Rodgers. He looked like 2019, 2020. Movement, slinging it. Just beautiful to see coming off a horrific Achilles injury. That injury, that injury has ended careers. Because of that injury, Kobe was never the same. And for Aaron Rodgers, at 40 years old, has the type of mobility after an Achilles injury like that, an Achilles tear, full tear. I have no idea what he's doing. But boy, does it look good. He had mobility. He was slinging it, confident, not cocky, confident. And it's kind of overshadowing the fact that this team really does have a stacked roster. If you look at the defensive side. Offensive side, even though Lazard has done something, I think it's still Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall and, Garrett Wilson. I think it's still that. For the Patriots, there's no hope. I don't think Jacoby survives the season. He looked like he was scraping himself off the mat, off the floor, off the field. After every snap, this man was on the floor. He got rushed. He got hit, sacked. All they could muster was 3 points. That was basically at the end of the game. And good win, as in, you needed it. But at the same time, don't think that just because they won against the Patriots in that defense, that it's going to be sunshine and gravy from now on. Because it's not. It's not how the league works. That's not how football works. You got to come and execute. But shout out to the Jets. He finally threw a touchdown to Garrett Wilson. Finally. Chargers Steelers. Justin Herbert hurts his ankle again. Keeps him out of the game in the latter stages of it when it was still kind of in question. But then Justin Fields, Fryer, Muth, not Najee Harris, not Jalen Warren, George Pickens, and Frymouth were the only guys. Like, to lose Justin Herbert like that on a sprained ankle that he suffered last week, and like you put him out there and you think it's safe, he gives you the okay. He's always going to give you the okay. And for you guys to not, I love Harbaugh, but this is a tough one to swallow, especially against New England when you are destroying their offensive line. They couldn't run the ball. So, shout out to the Patriots. I don't think that they'll win much more than this. Their defense is like Pittsburgh's. It's defense and pray. It's literally what it is. Defense and pray. Shout out to the Steelers. 3-0. Got to give it to you guys. Wasn't expecting this. Thought it was going to implode. But through it all, I think that we have understood and come to understand that once it's fourth quarter time and the game is in the balance and the defense is defending the opponent's team's offense, that trash, TJ Watt's incredible. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is TJ Watt's absolutely incredible. He, fourth quarter, needs to end the game, and boom, there's the sack. Third down to make it a 4th and long. Second down to make it a 3rd and long. And Justin Fields has done just enough to skate by. Just enough. Now, do I think this is sustainable for the rest of the year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But very interesting that the Steelers 2-0. And Tomlin also announced that Justin Fields is still the starter in the upcoming week 4. We'll see what happens with Herbert. They couldn't run the ball against Steelers. JK was held in check, and as soon as they lost, he threw a touchdown to Quentin Johnston, but as soon as Herbert got hurt, it was over. I mean, they had Taylor Heineke in there. He couldn't pass for a lick, and he got murdered by TJ Watt. And Hurtig. Hurtig did great too. Alex Highsmith, Cameron Hayward, the whole defense. Absolutely great. Shout out to Steelers. Texans-Vikings, a beatdown. Something we didn't see coming. Sam Darnold and KOC are the big deal. They're the real deal. And I said it when JJ went down. I was like, Sam Darnold is a former number 1 pick. So the talent's in there. cultivate it. And that's what KOC does. That's exactly what KOC does. Extrapolate as much talent from his quarterback as he can. He did it with Josh Dobbs. He did it with Mullins, Kirk Cousins. KOC has done a wonderful job. And got to give it to the Skull over there in Minnesota on a big, big win over the Texans that were heavily favored. CJ Stroud didn't look comfortable. Turnovers early in the game, 13-0. Just couldn't get back on the schneid. This is a flush it game. You flush it. Yes, it was on the road. Skull was going to be loud. You flush it, and you keep it moving. This is one of those games. Nico Collins not getting thrown the ball. Interesting. Saw that. I think that the Texans should be fine. They just have to figure out a balance on offense. Do we want to run the ball first, inside zone, outside zone, or do you want to it's funny because the Vikings and Brian Flores, the defense kept them completely out of sync all game long. I'm talking about out of sync because of the turnovers, because there's no true momentum. When he gets it in the fourth quarter, there's not going to be nothing there. But he knows that. He already knows that. He just wanted to be there. That sucks, though. That really sucks. Just really surprising by the Texans. Really, really surprising showing. Vikings 3-0. Don't look now. I'm not saying it, but don't look now. 4-0. Will the prophecy come true? That would be crazy. So controversial. JJ played well. He hasn't been his true self yet, but I think that's just a matter of time. They need Jordan Addison to take some heat off of him. Naylor and Aaron Jones played well in their respective roles. We have to play defense. Like, they have to play defense because I'm seeing some of these plays. I'm like, bro, how are we getting this open on this route? It's just like, bro, they bite on it. That's nuts. But shout out to Sam Darnold. Shout out to KOC. Shout out to the Vikings. Eagles Saints. Thought it was going one way. Thought the Saints were going to take this shit easy. Boy, was I wrong. So the Cowboys win against they win against the Saints, the Eagles, in dramatic fashion. Saquon Barkley, 60-plus yard run to seal it. And then the defensive stop. And then, so Derek Carr, as long as he's not pressured, he's good. He was pressured this game, and he reverted back to Derek Carr. So we don't know what to think of him. It's kind of like a 50-50 split. Right now, it's clearly, keep Bryce. If they get Shadour Sanders, it would be smart to keep Shadour Sanders. That's what they're saying. And I know I went off on a tangent there, but Jalen Hurts looks really good. He looks extremely healthy. and I wish him nothing but the best. All right. Saints will bounce back, I think. They're just not used to the big boys yet. They got to get some lumps in them. Or maybe Derek Carr's not the guy. One of the two. Dallas Goedert went for 170 plus as a tight end. Crazy. They ran into each other the final, I want to say, final like 40. But shout out to the Eagles, man. No A.J. Brown. Saquon still finds a way to be impactful. He's averaged, I think, 130, 120 scrimmage yards a game this season. The guy is absolutely incredible. And to watch, too. He looks like Penn State Saquon. Broncos, Bucks. Bo Nix finally figures it out. Took 3 days. It's pretty quick. But, you know, I think that for Broncos fans especially that have been in purgatory ever since Peyton died, I think it's not died. Sorry, retired. I think there's been a big void, and Osweiler and Orton and list goes on and on, Ripien and Simeon. But I think they found their guy, and I think Drew Brees. I think Sean Payton thinks of Bo Nix as a more athletic type of Drew Brees. And boys are paying off. With no receivers, just Cortland Sutton, low Jordan Humphrey, Greg Dulcich. That's about it over there in Broncos. And they got it done, man. They got it done. You know, for the Bucks, it's kind of surprising not seeing them excel. They followed 2-1. Baker didn't look himself. He didn't look a lot for Mike. He didn't look a lot for Chris. Like, he looked like he was distracted. But since you guys are coming, you know, I think the Broncos are going to be a good team. That defense is low-key underrated. Low-key. The Bucks just couldn't establish a run game. You can't establish a run game. Your pass is cooked. That's what happened. Bo Nix looked mobile, decisive, and being able to go through his progressions. That's what I enjoyed the most about watching Bo Nix play. Solid, poised, and deliver strikes. All right. Packers versus the Jets. No, the Titans. Excuse me. Titans. Absolute beatdown. Jordan Love couldn't play. Here comes Malik Willis. Tennessee didn't want him. They cut him. I think that the Packers are going to be legit Super Bowl contenders this year. Or maybe not Super Bowl contenders, but division championship, conference championship type of contenders. I mean, if you ask me, best team in the NFL, I think it's still Kansas City. As crazy as that sounds. Packers Titans wasn't a lot to roam home about. Titans couldn't run the ball. Couldn't pass the ball. At all. I think the Titans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And it's not the fault of the players. It's the fault of the quarterback. I don't know how that would happen. But everything happens for a reason. Let's see. Malik Willis looks a lot better than what he did in Tennessee, and that's the Matt Fleur effect. Better coaching. Another real surprise, Giants-Browns. Giants win this. Going away. We had Malik caught the other two. Malik Neighbors finally gets his first touchdown. Looks totally fine. And that's what I said about Malik Neighbors, man. He was that number one dude. He was that guy. And that's what he's showing out with Daniel Jones, make him look better. He's not better. He just has Malik Neighbors. The Giants defense flexed their muscles a little bit. Kayvon, Burns, Dexter Lawrence, just like casually strolling into the line of scrimmage. Not a lot of resistance. Bears Colts, kind of a wishy-wash game. I went with the Colts. Cars don't get activated. Bears Colts, Caleb is going to get better. And for the Colts, AR will get better at deep ball passes under the middle, which is what I've been harping on for the last 3 years. Yeah. Shout out to the Colts. Panthers, Raiders. Panthers destroy the Raiders. Sam Darnold, the Red Rifle, went for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. I think it was great. I think it was what Atlanta needed, was that wake-up call of like, hey, it's Monday night. And we've been waiting all week. So, let's do it. Dolphins, Seahawks. Skylar Thompson ain't it. We're supposedly still looking at stuff. Who knows? Dropping off. Tyreek just doesn't look happy. Jalen doesn't look happy. Of course, they're not in the offense. You need a guy that can transfer and die. Well, not die, but like, you know, I just think Geno played well. DK caught a bomb. But for us Dolphins fans, man, it's going to be tough sledding here for a few weeks, even if Tua gets off the snide and, you know, gets to play. It's going to be a tough situation. I'm glad I'm not in it. Yeah, but they destroyed us. They had no business playing us. Ravens, Cowboys. Called the Ravens win. Ravens won. They should have won by a lot more. They won by 3. If you think that Dallas putting in a little effort in the fourth quarter to get back within 1 score is worthy of anything of value, you're sadly mistaken. The Ravens are coming to town. Yeah, I mean, Ravens should have destroyed that game. We were up 28-6, and then out of nowhere it became 28-25. Like, what happened here? But I think the Cowboys deserve that loss at home, another loss at home to really regroup and show what they got next week. Ravens finally off the snide again, 2-1, better than 0-3. Or 1-2, better than 0-3. And they still have a shot, but they got to figure out that offense. Derrick Henry ran really well. Really, really well. They look like vintage Derrick Henry. But at the same time, you got to be able to sustain touchdown getting drives. You know what I'm saying? And Derek showed off a little bit. Had a stiff arm, had a long run. Showed off a little bit. The Cowboys' pass defense is good. Their interior defense, absolutely not. They're getting blown off the ball. They are more finesse than power. That's what they are. More finesse than power. So there's imbalance. Lions, Cardinals. Lions, hook and ladder. What else can you think about Ben Johnson? That was crazy. That was it, actually. Nothing else happened in that game except Marvin Harrison Jr. caught another touchdown. So for you guys that bet Marvin Harrison Jr. anytime touchdown, there you go. But, you know, I think that they have to find Laporta more. They just have to. Like, you don't break rookie records and then this gym is obviously gone. Doesn't exist no more. But shout out to the Lions. They got back off the schneid. Then we have another super surprise. And that's what the? It disappeared. What just happened? What I just wrote disappeared. That's crazy. Hold up. Let me go down there. Hold up. I'm going to my notes. Maybe it didn't disappear. Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. 49ers, Rams. Niners had this in the bag. When I say in the bag, this thing was wrapped up. In the bag. Already ready to go. Already ready to go. And you allowed Stafford to gain a little bit of confidence with Tutu Atwell and Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson, a little bit of Kyron Williams, and the defense held the 49ers just enough for you to lose this game. You had this in the bag. No Debo, no McCaffrey. Lost Trent Williams in the middle of the game. He came back. No Kittle. It's tough. You guys pulled it out. The Rams, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, so they didn't have no excuses either. And they pulled it out. Stafford did it somehow, some way, willed his team to victory. Because I was willing his team to victory. So, hell of a win for the Rams. Hell of a win. 49ers, little concerned. No superstars, only Ayuk. Jawan Jennings is the one that has the big day. 3 touchdowns. That's interesting. Chiefs, Falcons. Man, those Chiefs, man. So close to losing. And a phantom call here not called. And then Nick Bolton just destroying the line of scrimmage and firing through his whole pause through a gap to stop Bijan in his tracks was absolutely incredible. Now, the KC offense still figuring it out, so I'm going to give it to like week 6. If at week 6 we're still sputtering, then we might be talking about, maybe this is what they are. But that defense is still a championship defense. Chris Jones, McDuffie, Nick Bolton, Leo Chenal, Karlaftis, Cook, Williams, it's incredible. It's incredible how they do it. Rashee Rice had another big game. Like I said, they try to cover Kelsey, so Rice is open on, they're teaching Rice how to beat Kelsey basically and run the same type of option, imagine ad-lib routes for Mahomes from Rashee Rice, which is insane. So he got 12 catches or 12 targets most of his career. And for the Falcons, man, they were there, and then the Chiefs defense just out executed them. Spags is incredible. Spags is absolutely insane. Also ballsy leaving his men out there, on islands, but it's worked because you have the players to do it, and you give them the confidence that they can. So that's good. We'll talk about the Thursday night games that just happened yesterday on Thursday. Because one, I'm tired, and two, that's usually when I break down the Thursday night game and then I give you guys my picks. If we go to Carson Steele, it looks like he's going to be the next bell cow in the absence of Pacheco with the fractured fibula. But overall, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to figure out the offense. They're going to figure out how to Xavier Worthy get them involved. They're going to figure out how to get TK Kelsey involved. They're going to figure it out. I have no doubt in Andy Reid. All right. Let's get to baseball and get out of here. Who has clinched? Very simple. New York Yankees have clinched. They clinched today. Cleveland clinched yesterday, like 2 days ago or yesterday. Houston clinched the division today. Philly clinched the division yesterday. Milwaukee clinched the division. And the Dodgers have clinched a playoff berth. They haven't clinched the division yet. I think their magic number is like 2, if I'm not mistaken. And then New York hasn't won the division yet, but they're 5 games up on the Orioles. One more win, and they should be good. In the wild card, how it's coming down to, it's like 6 games left. Orioles are going to make it. They're already in. KC and Detroit are tied, and Minnesota is 2 games back, and Seattle's 2.5 games back. It's going to be tight. I think KC gets in. And I think Detroit, for how hot they are, I think they get in. So we're going to see Tarek Skubal in the postseason. Very young team, but very promising. In the NL, we have San Diego, 3.5 games up on the Mets and the Snakes, the Diamondbacks. Atlanta's 1 game back of the Diamondbacks. And the Mets, because they're both tied. So I still think it's going to be the Mets in Arizona. KC and Detroit, with like 6 games left, is insane. If we go a little bit to the stats, just like a final look through before everything ends, Bobby's at 335. He's going to win the batting title. Judge is at 323. Ohtani made it back to over 300. He's at 301. So he brought it back from 288 to 300 in like a week and a half. That's how he's been going off. And then like I said, Ohtani was like 10 behind Judge, 12 behind Judge in the home run department like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Now Judge has 56. He has 56 today. Ohtani has 53. So he's caught up. He's only 3 behind. Anthony Santander's at 44. Soto's at 40. Osuna's at 39. Judge is at 139 RBI. Ohtani's at 123. Bobby Witt's at 208 hits. Arias will get to 200. He's at 196. Vladdy will get to 200. He's at 195. Duran and Ohtani. Ohtani, 184 hits. He's going to get close, but I don't think he gets there unless he goes nuts these last 6 games. Ellie, it probably finishes with 60, somewhere around 65 to 67 stolen bases. Ohtani has 55. He could keep stealing more if he wants. Terang has 46. Skubal has 18 wins. Sale has 18 wins. Sale has a 2.38 ERA. Skubal has a 2.39 ERA. Helsley has 47 saves. Class A has 46. Skubal has 228 Ks. Sale has 225. It's going to come down to the wire for the Triple Crown. And then Zach Wheeler is 25 quality starts. Lugo has 22. Corbin Burns has 22. Logan Gilbert has 22. And Tarek Skubal has 22. So everything is pretty cinched up and everything, waiting for the playoffs to start. It's shaping up. We don't have the full thing yet, but we're really, really close to getting it. And yeah, guys, that's it. Enjoy Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. Basketball is gonna get ramped up here in early October. We'll start playing training camp preseason like mid-October, and then probably like October 20th, 23rd, 24th is when the season starts. So we're right back to basketball season. We're in playoff baseball season, and we're in the middle of football season. I love it all, including Formula One, including NASCAR. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. I know this one was a little long. I know that I look tired, but I'm just still putting out what you want for you guys. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I leave you with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no pueden